Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa Conference. So today's class will be given by His Grace Ramgiridhari Prabhuji on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela, Chapter 3, verse number 101. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you present on the call?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes.
Thank you very much Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. All goes to Sri Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving your very valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening us with this topic. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for having me part of this association. I'm sorry that I won't be able to turn on my video. I'm on a very low internet speed. Hope that my audio connection is better. And I'm happy to share that right now I'm in Srirangam Dham. I'm just right in front of Ranganatha Swami Temple, looking at the beautiful Gopuram, the tower of the temple. So with the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas and also the Dham here, so I'd like to take up our discussions. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela, Chapter 3, text number 101. We will only read that shloka today, and after that, there's a storyline that is beginning, and the next speaker can take it up. Brahmanera gare kare bhiksha nirvahanam prabhave sakala loka karaye pujanam. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. For his bodily maintenance, he would go to a Brahmana's house and beg some food. He was spiritually so influential that all the neighboring people worshipped him. Purport. In the days of Haridas Thakur, all the Brahmanas worshipped Narayana in the form of the Shaligram Sila. Therefore, begging from a Brahmana's house meant taking Krishna Prasadam, which is transcendental Nirguna. If we take food from the house of others, such as Karmis, we shall have to share the qualities of those from whom we take alms. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took Prasadam in the houses of Vaishnavas. This is the general process. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement are advised not to take food from anywhere but Vaishnavas or Brahmana's house where deity worship is performed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Vishayira anna khaile dushtahaya mana. If a devotee takes alms or food from the house of a karmi who is simply interested in money, his mind will become unclean. We must always remember that a devotee's life is one of Vairagya Vidya or renunciation and knowledge. Therefore, all devotees are warned not to live unnecessarily luxurious life at the cost of others. Grahastha living within the jurisdiction of the temple must be especially careful not to imitate karmis by acquiring opulent clothing, food and conveyances. As far as possible, this should be avoided. A member of the temple, whether a grahastha, brahmachari or sannyasi, must practice a life of renunciation following in the footsteps of Haridas Thakur and the 6 Goswamis. Otherwise, because Maya is very strong, at any time one may become a victim of Maya and fall down from spiritual life. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, the current context that we are in is such that Haridas Thakur's glories are going to be described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. After Haridas Thakur has wonderfully narrated the glories of the holy name, Mahaprabhu was very, Mahaprabhu was very happy and fully satisfied with the Haridas Thakur's narration and description. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wanted to actually not stop there and go on, glorify Haridas Thakur for whoever he was or whoever he is. He is starting to describe about the lifestyle and activities of Haridas Thakur, and he's going to narrate the famous Ramachandra Khan pastime. So Haridas Thakur, he used to reside in a solitary place and chant 300,000 times a day the holy name of the Lord. And as we read in this current shloka, he used to maintain himself by begging alms. And his conduct was so spotless, his character was so spotless that he commanded respect. This is an ocean of knowledge, and the more you churn, the more you get nectar. And especially if you have to churn the glories of devotees like Haridas Thakur, probably we won't be able to finish in one session or two sessions. We need several sessions, which even Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami realized and is going on narrating what Vrindavan Das Thakur otherwise may not have covered in detail. So the next 45 minutes to an hour, whatever time we have, we're going to churn some sets of reflections, and through that we will understand the current context. Even though this is a storyline that can teach us a lot of lessons, I would like to take this particular shloka and the context and derive some lessons. And there are significant set of devotees around the world who are trying to preach Krishna consciousness, who are trying to present Krishna to us. But the way Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Gaudiya Vaishnava followers have done, no one has done so far. They lived what they spoke, and they spoke what they practiced. Before they started to go out and preach, they were very particular that they had sincere practicing of Krishna consciousness philosophy. So we are going to see some sets of 5 reflections to discuss this particular shloka. Number 1, a Brahmana or a devotee is the one who always wants to save time so that he can focus on his devotional activities. Let's keep the Vaishnava part separate. According to Varnashrama Dharma, a person is classified based on his guna and karma to decide who is a Brahmana, who is a Kshatriya, who is a Vaishya, who is a Shudra. So from that standpoint, a Brahmana is someone who does not want to waste his time and utilize all of that for activities in the mode of goodness and to glorify the Supreme Lord. And for the sake of saving time, he is ready to relinquish power, position, money, sense gratification. He does not want any of them. He knows that probably if he have all of them, he may have a profile. But a Brahmana, a proper qualified Brahmana, does not bother about any other aspect apart from saving time and walking on the path of righteousness. And he is ready to sacrifice position, power, name, fame, follower, money, sense gratification. A Kshatriya, a one who is a proper Kshatriya, for him to retain his power and position is the most important thing. So for retaining his power and position, he is ready to spend time, money, and even sacrifice sense gratification. So for a Kshatriya, he thinks always from power and position. and popular followings. He invests as much amount of time as he wants. And technically, he is doing that because he takes guidance from a qualified Brahmana. According to Varnashrama Dharma, no Brahmana has to do any software job or any kind of job because they are taken care by so-called leaders. And this arrangement was so scientific that the Brahmanas need not worry about their maintenance. They need not be biased towards anyone. They are not dependent on one single family, and their entire source of existence is to maintain themselves with the very least possible arrangement with the help of whatever alms that he could gain, or some rich Brahmanas are maintained by the king or the zamindar or whomever that is, so that they don't need to worry about their daily bread, daily existence. So that's why Kshatriya, even though he was interested in retaining his power, he was righteous because all the decisions were validated by the Brahmana. And whilst the Brahmana used to validate these decisions, he was always unattached. He would always give consulting advice, better to do this way, but he would not own the problem. He would only give directions to the Kshatriya, and the Kshatriya, according to his own intelligence, takes that advice, puts it into practice, and gets success and get properly directed. A Vaishya is the one who does not bother about time, who may not worry about power or position. He thinks always money. For earning money, he is not going to worry about the amount of time he's going to spend, amount of day, night he is awake or sleep or whatever that is. He thinks money, economic development. In Varnashrama setup, because these Vaishyas work under the authority of a king, so they were also properly situated. And these Vaishyas, because they were obedient to the king, and the king facilitated these Vaishyas for economic development under the direction of a Brahmana, so they were all called twice born because they had some samskaras. Whilst we are speaking about their mindset and priorities, we are also speaking that in Varnashrama setup, they were interdependent and respecting each other. And so is the case of Shudra, who were always ready to serve these three classes of men. By such an arrangement, they were able to perform their duties and functions very effectively and glorify the Supreme Lord. So every activity of all of them used to be centered around the Supreme Lord. Even though Shudras won't have samskaras, just by the Shudras being obedient towards their three other Varnas, they got their necessary results. So this is how Varnashrama setup had been. And this is how in Vedic civilization, people had a very harmonious lifestyle. So when we see Haridas Thakur going and begging alms and maintaining himself, and there are people who are ready to feed him, not from a perspective that they are helping some poor guys. They consider such service as a privilege, and they literally worshipped him. So neither Haridas Thakur took undue advantage of their surrender, nor they were trying to make fun of Haridas Thakur acting like a mendicant. So my first reflection is how Varnashrama Dharma arrangement were scientific and the society were interdependent to each other, and they were all operating based on their psychophysical nature, and Prabhupada wanted to somehow or other recreate this Varnashrama society. Now, let's go to the second reflection, where what is happening in Kali Yuga context. In Kali Yuga context, let's leave aside those who are not even the category of these four Varnas. As Prabhupada writes, we are in the category of Yavanas or Mlechas, as much as to the level of an animal. But those who were theoretically or bodily born in any one of these four, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or even Shudra for that matter, in Kali Yuga setup, with modern education, what happened is every individual wants to have the profile and respect that a Brahmana would receive. He wants to have the power and followers a Kshatriya would have. He wants to have money like a Vaishya. But all of them were for his own sense gratification. So Varnashrama Dharma slowly got deteriorated, where a Brahmana used his position to misappropriate them and try to enjoy. A Kshatriya misused his power to exploit. A Vaishya, by deceitfulness and also cheating, he made his money. Eventually, all of them were focusing only on their sense gratification. Kali Yuga became, or the society currently is predominant with a person with Shudra or Mlecha mentality. Even though, according to birth, a person may have higher Varnas. So my second reflection is that how the Varnashrama Dharma, which used to be centered around Vishnu and Supreme Lord, was very scientific, very harmonious, very peaceful, and very interdependent and coexisting amongst themselves. In Kali Yuga, just because of one single propensity, of course, along with the nature of Kali, the society got degraded because everything has become an external arrangement. So a Shudra, why it is said Kala Shudra Sambhava? Because everybody for namesake, they want to be a Brahmana, namesake Kshatriya, namesake Vaishya, but internally, we all have Shudra propensity. So that is why Haridas Thakur is, speaking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and explaining the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. And he said, even a person who is highly degraded in his consciousness can also take advantage of this holy name. Shatru Chedaika Mantram Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram Samsaro Cheda Mantram Samuchita Bhujaga Sandrishta Sanyal Mantram Jihve Sri Krishna Mantram Japa Japa Satatam Janma Sapalya Mantram. King Kulasekara is telling in Mukunda Mala Stotra, Shatru Chedaika Mantram. This holy name of the Lord can uproot, can remove the Shatrus in our heart. Lust, greed, anger, envy, ego, pride, illusion. Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram. So all the glories of the holy name were very nicely explained, and this holy name can purify anyone who chants Jihve Sri Krishna Mantram Japa Japa Satatam Janma Sapalya Mantram. King Kulasekara is praying, my dear tongue, please chant the holy name of the Lord every day, because this chanting is going to deliver us, rescue us, purify our entire existence. So hence Haridas Thakur, realizing the nature of people in Kali Yuga, because of his association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave and he demonstrated and he explained to Mahaprabhu the glories of the holy name. So my second reflection is that the Varnashrama Dharma society, or the society which was centered around Varnashrama Dharma in the Vedic era, slowly got adulterated or polluted with materialistic consciousness, to an extent that what was left was people misused their position and profile. The third reflection is that the same precarious condition of this society, where all the varnas and ashramas are completely mixed up and messed up, when these men came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, who is an expert, a Vaishnava is called Daksha. Is an expert who can utilize every possible resource in the service of the Lord, can utilize every possible arrangement in the glorification of the Lord. What happened was, Srila Prabhupada picked up people like us who lost our track, who completely messed up our Vedic civilization, but he gave us a hope. So Prabhupada says, a Vaishnava or a devotee, may he be a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, can become a Vaishnava. In terms of action, in terms of his duties, function, a person may be situated as a Brahmana in terms of his daily routine activities, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Sudra, and may also have their own psychophysical nature. But if they dovetail these propensity in the service of the Supreme Lord, then they can also become Vaishnavas. A person may utilize their Shudra mentality, but somehow or other, if he becomes Krishna's devotee by chanting the holy name of the Lord, he can become a Vaishnava. So the message here is, the third reflection here is, when a Vaishnava or a self-realized soul bestows his blessings, or when a Baddha Jeev gets the blessings of a self-realized soul, whilst we were all born as a Shudra, just by that Midas touch, with that association of a self-realized soul, Prabhupada explains, a devotee can function in 100% pure consciousness, even though his psychophysical nature could be any part of the Varna. So the third reflection hence is, when we are associating, when we are participating in this Krishna consciousness movement, when we are part of this Sankirtan mission, when we are part of this glorious process of Krishna consciousness, what we are assured is, independent of our physical and psychological existence, the process has got a power to purify. In fact, the episode that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is going to explain about the glories of Haridas Thakur, the Ramchandra Khan episode, and the prostitute that he sent to decredit Haridas Thakur, they all have actually added to Haridas Thakur's glory than otherwise. So my third reflection hence is that when we associate with the expert Vaishnava devotee, the propensity one may have gets purified. So in one sense, what was an adulteration where we want the profile of a Brahmana, power of a Kshatriya, money like a Vaishya, sense gratification like a Sudra, when they come in contact, when such a propensity come in contact with the pure devotee, it gets purified, and Prabhupada says, a devotee is expected, or he is trained, or he becomes a Brahmana by his consciousness because of his activities in terms of Krishna consciousness services that he gets involved. And he is able to lead and guide some, he is able to lead and guide men in devotional life. He is able to utilize financial resources appropriately, and even when it comes to physical menial service, he is ready to do. The point is, what was the shortfall, or what was the defect that Kali Yuga brought in, is mitigated with the help of a Vaishnava. So Prabhupada says a single devotee is in itself a complete preacher and temple by himself, because he can speak, he can lead, he can maintain, and he can also do every possible menial service. So he expects all the followers of Krishna consciousness movement to be a wholesale holistic preacher, so that wherever he goes, he can give Krishna consciousness, set up preaching establishments, and win more and more souls to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So what Kali Purusha thought that he will do by completely finishing off dharma, this process of Sankirtan Yajna, this process of chanting the holy name of the Lord given by Haridas Thakur, will actually take the living entity, especially human being, one step above and take them to a level of a Vaishnava, just by doing three things. Number one, controlling our mind and senses. Number two, keeping our attitude sane enough to follow the footsteps of self-realized soul. And third is to have a lakshya, a goal, as Srila Prabhupada wanted, that each and every one of us need to become Goswamis in our life. And that's the path I would walk, and rest everything else I would relinquish, because that's what is going to give me Krishna. And if I have Krishna, I don't have anything else needed in my life. The fourth reflection is the way these Krishna consciousness activities are taken up, or people progress in Krishna conscious activities. As Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya refers, Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga. So Vairagya and Vidya are two important components. Renunciation and knowledge are two important qualities that are needed for us to take up actual Krishna consciousness, Nija Bhakti Yoga. And here it is explained about Haridas Thakur's lifestyle. Whilst Haridas Thakur could have demanded whatever he wanted, he could have received because of his conduct, because everybody loved him, worshipped him. He was very particular in his consciousness, in his priorities and choice. So my fourth reflection is having two parts. Fourth reflection, part one, is about the knowledge of renunciation is not an agenda for 50 plus age devotees. Many times we think that only when I am vanaprastha, I need to renounce. Sure, at that time you need to renounce as well as relinquish all the attachment and move forward. But this renunciation and relinquishing worldly attachments, bodily attachments, family attachments, they are not something that can happen overnight. That is why Kaumaram Acharet Prajnot Dharman Bhagavataniha. From the age 5 through 50, we are going through various experiences and learnings, and renunciation is part of that. If we teach everything but for renunciation, then to renounce or relinquish will not be in the agenda, will not be in the frame of mind, and people will never think that that is an option, that is a step forward to go closer to Krishna. But if, as a part of education, probably we don't need to renounce at age 5 or 10 or 15 or 25 or 30 or 40, but at some stage we will have to, and the preparation starts from the time we acquire. So when I'm acquiring, when I'm buying, when I'm amassing, I know that I'll have to give it up. So I will have informed decision, not that I'll think that I'll stay here forever, I'm going to enjoy things forever, and everything will be there with me forever. So what the science of Krishna consciousness is teaching? Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. Only knowledge is not going to be sufficient. Only renunciation is not going to be sufficient. For us to progress, both renunciation and knowledge are sufficient. And in fact, I would say knowledge of renunciation is also very important. And if I can make this statement, after a point in time, renouncing the knowledge and developing love is going to be something that is going to be important. When we say renouncing the knowledge does not mean that we become ignorant or fools, which means we need to go beyond knowledge and renunciation, which Srila Prabhupada always say. 14th chapter of Nectar of Devotion, first paragraph, Prabhupada writes, knowledge and renunciation can take us to one particular stage in Krishna consciousness. They are important, but they will take us to one particular level. But after a point in time, every practicing devotee need to develop sentiments and sincerity for them to go closer to Krishna and love Krishna. So the fourth reflection's first part is knowledge. I mean, we need to have knowledge of renunciation, and with that, we will be able to slowly, as I acquire, I know that I have to give up. As I do certain things, I know that this will be taken away from me, either by choice or force. And at any point in time, these are all not some eternal attachments that I can live with or leave my body with. So a knowledge of renunciation is very important. And as we move progress, as we go closer, we should also learn to go past just bookish theoretical knowledge. And Prabhupada says we need to apply and participate with sincerity and sentimental love for Krishna, not from a very a theoretical and bookish manner. With full heart, one should develop their love. And 4.2, the second aspect of the fourth reflection is, as a part of this renunciation, we all need to realize that this renunciation is not about giving up. The renunciation is not about throwing out. This renunciation is not about wastage of resources. This renunciation means we try to dovetail everything for the pleasure of the Lord and withdrawing ourselves from being the beneficiary or the enjoyer. Prabhupada writes in this purport that people may be interested in, various types of sense gratification, various types of unnecessary, luxurious, costly life. Prabhupada is very particular that it is all starting with, where do we identify ourselves with? Prabhupada was very particular there, saying that those who are staying within the temple, closer to the temple. But if we take it to the current context of our lifestyle, it is applicable to every congregation devotee. Prabhupada knew, or Prabhupada anticipated, in the earlier days, in ISKCON, the concept of congregation was not there. At that time, devotee means those who used to live in the temple and take prasadam and maintained by the temple. But slowly after Prabhupada's departure, then leave aside the history, then there was a need to support devotees who are not living in the temple by giving them Krishna consciousness. And they developed this concept of congregational preaching. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, who is the Minister for Congregation Development, spent significant amount of time in strategizing and implementing and developing this congregational preaching initiatives. And this is when he did all this research and when he did all this work, we realized that it is not something new. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has already predicted, and that is all now getting revealed with the help of these sincere self-realized souls. So the second aspect of the fourth reflection is these renunciations, these knowledge, if they just remain bookish, then that's not what Srila Prabhupada wanted. They are supposed to be directed towards action, and action here means that we are converting each and every one of our houses to an ashram. We buy a house, we make it as a home where with loving emotions, interactions, relationships, and eventually when we add Krishna and keep Krishna in the center of such a relationship and love, then that home actually gets transformed to an ashram. And an ashram inmate is not only just those who live in the temple. An ashram inmate is the one who leads a regulated, disciplined life. And discipline is in the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you dress, the way you eat, what you eat, how you eat, with whom you eat, from whom you eat, and where do you work, what are you doing with your money. So many things are involved. Whilst in this current context, Srila Prabhupada is talking about the food, which is a very important aspect of our existence. There are other aspects also, that attributes that contributes to our spiritual consciousness. So hence, what the second reflection that I want to say is that each and every one of us in our own practicing of Krishna consciousness need to focus on Krishna conscious way of living rather than Krishna consciousness being part of our life. This Krishna conscious way of living means I will make sure that every walks of my life, I am purifying them with Krishna consciousness, agenda, Krishna consciousness focus. Sometimes devotees used to ask and wonder, Prabhu, everything I'm doing nicely, where I'm going wrong, I'm still not able to make necessary progress. Prabhupada clearly writes here in this purport, it is about what you eat. Yajna sishtasina santo muchyante sarva kilbishai bunjate te twagam papa e pachanti atma karanat. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains to Arjuna, every morsel of grain that is not offered is enjoyed by the individual, he verily eats sin. So it is not about only the food intake, it is also about the lifestyle. That's what Prabhupada explains. Food is definitely a very important aspect, but along with the food, it is about the dress that you wear, the place that you are going to be, the facilities that you are going to enjoy, and all of those things. So there are intricate message here. Either you decide to lead a very simple, humble life and serve Krishna, or you dovetail everything to Krishna and be a caretaker of Krishna's property, Krishna's resources. Understand that as Krishna's resources and utilize them for very good preaching. In the sense, Prabhupada constructed New Vrindavan. Prabhupada constructed all the wonderful projects. Now the TOVP temple is coming up. If you look at the grand arrangements or the magnificent arrangement or the luxuries or the arrangement that Srila Prabhupada's devotees or they have done, it's much, much superior to all the so-called materialistic building, because Krishna is being worshipped there. And the devotees who are living there, they are also getting the privilege to be there in that wonderful arrangement. But every time when they are living there, they are expected to live there with a consciousness that I am just a servant and nothing in this belongs to me. So similarly, each and every one of us in our own houses, Prabhupada explains, don't compare with materialistic men. Don't look at them and imitate your own lifestyle. Don't try to, adulter your Krishna consciousness with some materialistic thoughts. And please don't accept food from materialistic people that will affect our consciousness. You sow a thought to reap an action. You sow an action to reap a habit. You sow a habit to reap a character. You sow a character to reap your destiny. And the thought is influenced by the people we associate, the food that we eat. So it is important that we somehow or other try to be very strict about this. That is why we always make sure that our Vaishnavas, self-realized souls, sincere devotees, serious devotees, advanced devotees, we feed them and always take care of them from a Vaishnava's perspective and not try to just depend on Jain food. As we all get convinced that if I eat Jain food or what you call as food without onion garlic, which means I'm not breaking a regulative principle. Probably in one sense we are not, but in other sense we are polluting our consciousness. I'm not saying this because I'm perfect. I'm saying this because that's what I'm reflecting, and for my own self I'm speaking about it. So many times we have an adjustment saying that because of my work, because of my various reasons, I have to do this. But actually, technically speaking, it is the smallest or the further adjustment that we may have to do. Just offer and eat. Krishna is expecting whatever you eat. Yat karoshi, yad asnasi, yad juhosi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. You please make it as an offering and eat. Otherwise, you are going to be, entangling yourself. So my 4.2 is about Krishna consciousness way of living, which means purify, look into the details of every aspect of our Krishna consciousness and try to become a devotee. Otherwise, we will know a lot of philosophy, we will have lots of knowledge, we will be able to speak a lot, but in terms of our activities and practices, we will be a big zero. And here Haridas Thakur is leading by his example, how he walked what he spoke, and he spoke what he is walking. And that's wonderful of him to be leading this by example. That is why a Vaishnava command respect. Harisauri Prabhu once mentioned, at the time he was Prabhupada Kripa Swami, so he did mention that we foreigners or we Western devotees, we used to analyze literally Srila Prabhupada's actions. Initial days, we were only looking at Swamiji's every act. Wherever Srila Prabhupada used to travel, whichever country, whichever continent, whatever jet lag, time difference, and whatever may be the case, Srila Prabhupada had a very fixed, disciplined routine, and he was always, sticking on that routine. Yadubara Prabhu mentioned one interesting aspect about Srila Prabhupada's meticulous perfection. Of course, it was little interesting to hear this, how much these devotees have analyzed Srila Prabhupada. He shared this in Radha Gopinath temple in Chowpatty. I'm talking about maybe 20 years before. So he says that every time in Mayapur temple, when Srila Prabhupada used to be there, Srila Prabhupada used to circumambulate Radha Madhav altar. And every time after Darshanarthi, when he does the parikrama, he used to stop by the bell and used to ring the bell. So Yadubara Prabhu, being a photographer, he was taking the shots of Srila Prabhupada from all the angles. And he said, I analyzed frame by frame Srila Prabhupada's ringing the bell. When I took video grab of Srila Prabhupada's ringing the bell, I analyzed the frame by frame, and I was amazed. Even whilst ringing his bell, Srila Prabhupada showed his perfection and expertness, and it was exactly in the same sequence, the same time interval, the same way he did it. Of course, this has nothing to do with the Siddhanta and the lifestyle that he led. But what I was trying to say is that these devotees, they did not just, blindly accepted Swamiji. They had seen Swamiji living his principles by action, which was very unusual for them, but which was highly convincing for them. So that is how his preaching mission happened. And that's how all our Vaishnava Acharyas have done their preaching. Acharana, then Prachar. So this is my fourth reflection. And finally, the last one, Srila Prabhupada writes that whoever may be a member of the temple, whether Grahastha, Brahmachari, Sannyasi, must practice a life of renunciation following in the footsteps of Haridas Thakur. Otherwise, they'll become victims of Maya and fall down from spiritual life. So, the next 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about fall down in Krishna consciousness, about which I have mentioned, maybe a year or two before in one of the sessions, a detailed flow chart on how does fall down happen. I would do that in a very quick manner. We did one whole class on fall down from Krishna consciousness. So this flow chart, I would like to recollect for those who had already been part of that session, and for if you have not been part of that session, at least you can know this is one line of thought on how does a fall down happens. So when Prabhupada says somebody become victim of Maya, and Maya is very strong, where all Maya will play her role, where all Kali Purusha will act, so that he can derail us from Krishna consciousness. One is what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, is about the food that we eat, is about the comparison, imitation that we do. And because of these two, our consciousness gets polluted and we try to commit an offense. So the beginning of our fall down happens by aparada against Srimati Radharani. So the way, this is one set of a flow of thought. I'm not saying this is the only way somebody can fall down. There may be other ways, but at least these are all some natural consciousness evolution when somebody is derailing or deviating from Krishna consciousness. So first, the day he will deviate is when he commits an aparad. And an aparad is committed because our consciousness is not sane. Our consciousness is not sane because of our food and the association that we subscribe to. And when this aparad happens, or when somebody commits an aparad, the very first thing that aparad will impact is it'll affect our devotional consciousness during chanting. So the taste in chanting will get reduced. So if our taste in chanting is getting reduced, which means somewhere or the other we have serious aparad that we have committed, we need to fix that. So in the flow chart, first is aparad. Of course, above that is our association and the food intake, or imitation and the lifestyle that we lead, because of which we commit aparad. Because of aparad, we lose taste in chanting, and because of our loss of taste in chanting, we naturally starts to seek association of worldly minded people, and do what? Start to express our heart to them. So this is a very important and a serious default in the life of a devotee, where seeking a worldly people association, sangat tyagat satavrite sadbir bhaktir prasiddhyati. Rupa Goswami said, sangat tyagat, associating with worldly minded person, asat sangat tyagat, a Vaishnavachar. But then somehow or other, when we lose taste in chanting, our impulse or our vairagya to associate with devotees slowly gets reduced. We think, or we start to give importance to non-devotees association. And in that association, technically what we do, we open our heart. you know what, actually I was feeling a little bored in yesterday's class. You know what, I was not getting so much inspiration as I used to get before in the kirtan. Today I thought of, not going to the temple and coming and meeting you. Something very casual, but very, concerning. And these conversations actually are some very good indication for people to know Kali has entered in our heart. Bhaktivinoda Thakur warns about this in his book called Bhaktya Loka. He says that every grahastha, every practicing devotee need to make sure that he does not reveal his heart, not to have a heart-to-heart relationship with materialistic men, because their kindness upon us is a disturbance to our Krishna consciousness, because they will only give materialistic solutions. And the very next step that will happen is that we will further reduce Vaishnava's association because of such a sharing, because a friend who thinks that he is helping us will take us away from, devotee sangha and take us to other places. Maybe he's thinking that I'm helping my, buddy, but then it is going to be taking us away from Krishna consciousness. So the fourth step is further reduction in devotees association. And when this is all happening, I lost taste in chanting. I sought material devotees association. I opened my heart to them. Then my association further reduced. The impact of all these things is the next step, where I start to criticize other devotees. And when I say I start to criticize other devotees, I start to find fault at them, why they can't help me, why they are not properly situated, and how I am needing some alternatives. And I am in, whatever I'm doing is, needed for me at that point in time. We rationalize. We try to question. So at this stage, we consider self-realized souls as ordinary people. Ordinary people, or who are helping, who is giving you time, as some well-wisher. Deities as something that is a normal vastu, and some sense gratificatory things as something very important that you might need to embrace. So all these changes you can see in yourself if you happen to go through the cycle. And this is all very vivid. We have seen in various devotees' lives, and many times we have also gone through such turbulences in our own devotional lives. So we criticize devotees. Not only we criticize, we look at spiritual master as an ordinary person, self-realized souls as somebody who is material, but the materialistic person is some as a well-wisher, holy name as some, not so. So we start to, downgrade the position, and eventually that leads us to be lazy towards devotional service, and that further leads to increased sense gratification, which further leads us away from Krishna. So this fall down in Krishna consciousness is something that, long time back, I'm talking about 25, 30 years, maybe 25 years before, I've, seen a Back to Godhead magazine where there was a very detailed discussions done by several senior devotees analyzing from different angles why fall down happens in Krishna consciousness. So this is only because of nothing to do with Krishna consciousness and its activities. It is to do with the choice that we make, and how are we trying to be serious enough when some drift happens. Prabhupada says that sometimes we may also make mistakes, but it is not about the mistake that matters. It is about what do we do when mistake happens, how much complacent that we are, how much casual that we take it up, and that's all matters a lot in our Krishna consciousness journey. So as a fifth reflection, I want to share that this fall down in Krishna consciousness is something that we need to watch out for. It all starts in our initial choice of actions and lifestyle that we lead. which eventually takes us to commit aparadha. So to conclude our discussions today, we had 5 sets of reflection. The first set of reflection is about how a Varnashrama Dharma society, where a Brahmana used to utilize the time effectively eh, for doing activities in the mode of goodness and glorifying the Supreme Lord. A Kshatriya who has Brahmana to guide leads his Kshatriya life, protecting his power and position under the direction of a qualified Brahmana, and a Vaishya who is to work under a Kshatriya for economic development and always thinks of money and ready to sacrifice time and power, and a Shudra always working under any one of them and able to derive some results. But when Varnashrama society got slowly uh, uh, got adulterated and completely dominated with sense gratificatory things because of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas misused their power and position. When Kali Purusha started to rule the society and modern education system entered our lives, what had happened was my second reflection, where a Brahmana, a person wants profile like a Brahmana, power like a Kshatriya, money like a Vaishya, but all of them directed for sense gratification. So technically we remain Shudra or even worse than them. The third reflection that we had was, but when such a third class, fourth class, fifth class men, even though they may not have right positioning because of material conditioning, if they come in contact with Srila Prabhupada, or if they come in contact with self-realized soul, they are expert enough to add Krishna in our lives and able to purify our existence. And even though we may have Shudra propensity because of our psychophysical nature, they will be able to purify them by adding Krishna in our lives. So we will transform our current conditioned life to become a Vaishnava because of the help of those self-realized souls like Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur is eventually going to prove that, demonstrate that in the story that you are going to see in Ramchandra Khan's story, where a prostitute got delivered. So a person who comes in contact with the self-realized soul gets delivered like that. And the Prabhupada explains in one place where a devotee is one single holistic man, where he can actually speak like a Brahmana, lead like a Kshatriya, and take care of finances properly, and also ready to do all sorts of menial services if it is for Krishna. So the propensity is same before and later, but then because of the direction and the purpose for which we are doing action, changes the whole course of journey. So when somebody associates with an expert, he is able to dovetail all of his propensity for glorifying Krishna. The fourth reflection is having 2 parts. Part 1 is about the science of renunciation, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. Every one of us need to learn to renounce, and the renunciation knowledge needs to be inculcated from the beginning, which means from the time education is starting. We need to start talking about renunciation. As I acquire, as I amass, I always need to know that it is not going to be there with me for eternally. Neither I am going to live here eternally. So these are all things that are only transactional things, and they may be taken away from us. So renunciation knowledge, the knowledge of renunciation should be given early, and we should also learn to go past theoretical knowledge and apply Krishna consciousness in our lives. So the second part of fourth reflection is Krishna consciousness way of life. And Krishna consciousness way of life means what you eat, what you dress, how do you conduct yourself. Srila Prabhupada gave a very clear-cut, direct warning that we as practitioners, especially those who are living within the community, those who are living in the close proximity to the community, as I said, we can extrapolate and say that those who are congregation devotees, technically those who are students of Krishna consciousness movement, need to watch out for this trap, where sometimes we may say that I'm eating without onion garlic, I'm eating Jain food. It's all just my work related issues. I may need to do certain things. So we take things for granted and slowly drift away from our Krishna consciousness. And that's what our final reflection was about, how a fall down happens. And we spoke about the flow chart of fall down, beginning from the choices that we make, and to eventually committing an offenses because of that. And from there, our taste in chanting gets reduced. Then we seek materialistic association and have heart-to-heart relationship with them, and because of which we reduce further Vaishnava association and go away from devotees, because of which we criticize them and consider spiritual master as an ordinary person, devotees as somebody who is material, and eventually deities and holy name we consider their potency to be somewhat materially, dominated. And finally, with this consciousness, one becomes lazy enough to do devotional service, and he gets completely deviated away from Krishna. And that's what Prabhupada concludes this particular purport. And with that, we will conclude our today's sessions. If there are any questions or comments, I'll be happy to respond. So Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? I'll be happy to respond.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the very nice instructional class. Very, very nice. Thank you so much for taking the time off in spite of such a busy schedule and speaking on this topic. The fall down thing was very, important for us to know. Thank you so much. It can happen at any time and we really need to be careful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Prabhuji, you explain all the reflections so nicely, and especially you explain the fall down one, that when our japa is not good, when we are talking with a material person, and when we are making specially aparadh, it's happened, it's reduced the taste of japa. So we should be very careful and stay always with the Vaishnava association. And by the example of, you also explained about six Goswami, the Haridas Thakur, Sanatana Goswami, Rup Goswami, six Goswami are not staying 3 days in a one tree, and they are so rich, but they left everything, and they completely renounced to give that self to service of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So we should, the more that we should stay with always the Vaishnava association. And yes, you are given an example of Srila Prabhupada that the foreigners are not blindly follow the Krishna consciousness, but they watch Srila Prabhupada, how Prabhupada is walking, race, cooking prasadam, and even the ringing bell and discipline, everything like a morning japa and morning aarti, everything is in a disciplined way. So Prabhuji, I learned that from last 5 months, because of lockdown, Drashti Shiva is Drashti is working at home, so she is watching how I am doing japa attentively, and Mangla Aarti to Shandhya Aarti, and we sit every day in a nearby our home. There is a small Sri Ram Vrindavan Dham, and every day we hear Mayapur Dham Aarti and Amindra Prabhu, Adi Kadar Prabhu lecture, so that our kids also watching us. So we should be very careful. They just follow whatever we are doing. And you explained so nicely the Western devotees are following Srila Prabhupada, and who and you explained about the example of Haridas Thakur, and not to do Vaishnava aparadh, and also Prabhuji, when we are doing aparadh, our japa is we are not the taste is not coming in japa. And you are explaining about Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, what is the duty. And you also explained whether it's a Shudra like a Haridas Thakur, but when they are engaged in the service of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani, they become a pure Vaishnava. Ramchandra, Valmiki, Rusi, Haridas Thakur, Sanatana Goswami, Rup Goswami, and so many points, Prabhuji, you are explained. I take a vow from this day that I will, like you, Priti Vilasini, Lalitangi Gopi, Radha Gopi, Radhika Mataji, all are working hard, Prabhuji, but we are not making knot. And in Bhaktivedanta Hospital, Vishnu Prabhuji always said, you make a knot. Morning, it's not possible, Prabhuji. We are doing seva, running. But at afternoon class, try my best to make a knot so that I can serve Vaishnava in my capacity. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Thank you very much for your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. As always, your enthusiasm inspires others. I just read a small quote somebody forwarded me today. One boy told the dad, one dad told his son, "My dear son, walk your path correctly." So the dad said, "My dear dad, I am walking on the same path as you walked. So maybe you should do the same." I mean, it was kind of a funny statement, but then there's a interesting subtle message. Our children are supposed to be walking the same path as we walked. May not be in terms of the transactional things, but in terms of intentions and attitude. So I guess right from the beginning, all our acharyas, they had set an example by their action. So we need to continue the legacy. We need to make sure that we walk the right path, and that's how our preaching can be very powerful. Otherwise, in Hindi, we say this. We have boolne ka bimari or bolne ka bimari. So we only forget and speak. We do not follow. Because either we have a boolne ka bimari, we forget, or we have bolne ka bimari, which means we keep on talking. So who will do the action? Who will do the implementation? Who will do the following? That's where the challenge is. And one of the reasons why ISKCON is growing is because we have practitioners. Why all the other movement, they have challenges. In fact, there was a study that after the founder Acharya's departure, if a spiritual movement that has grown so well, ISKCON leads the first. That's because of the practices Srila Prabhupada had given. So we all need to understand this. Otherwise, Maya is ready to surround us and whip on our back. Anyway, thanks for your enthusiastic words.
One second, Prabhu. You also explained that not to take spiritual master ordinary personality, and that is example I have seen in Shri Radha Gopinath. That time I'm a new Vaishnavi before 10 years. Radhanath Maharaj is just give a obeisance to other Maharaj, that is Chandramoli Maharaj, Chandramoli Maharaj, Indradhanu Maharaj. They are came every year in a Kartik month. So Maharaj is given obeisance to them. We just follow them, but now understand that why Maharaj is given so much respect to other Maharaj. So our Maharaj also, we should not take that our spiritual master is ordinary personality. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your association.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions?
If nobody has any questions, then if anybody has any question, please go ahead. We can.
Prabhuji, Sri Adhik Mas is coming, Purushottam Mas is coming. So we have to exactly follow. We are doing so many diyas exactly like that. We have to follow Kartik month. Exactly, we follow the Sri Purushottam month.
According to the description of the Purushottam month Vrata, at least there are 4 basic things that are expected. There are many things that we can do. Technically speaking, every spiritual activity has got a multiplying effect in Purushottam month. But there are 4 things that are basically to be done. Number 1, properly chanting the holy name of the Lord. Number 2, reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, especially 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Number 3, give charity to Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, preaching mission. And number 4 is offer a ghee lamp. These 4 things are the barest minimum anybody can do, easily can do. Over and above that, visiting Dham, doing some more devotional service, taking bath in holy rivers, appreciating devotees, inviting devotees to your house and feeding them, giving book distribution, giving spiritual knowledge to others. doing more and more DT worship and DT personal services, reducing your bodily needs and extra introducing some austere lifestyle in yourself, in your personal life, refraining from physical sense gratificatory activities if you're a grahastha. So all of these things are additional things. And the Purushottam month, which originally was a 13th month, all the other months gathered together and complained, saying that you cannot be part of us. You are a Malamasa, you are a stool month. So the month went and requested Vishnu, and Krishna accepted, saying that I will marry you and I will be your protector. And from now on, you will be called Purushottam month. You will have the same potency as mine. Anybody who worships me will get whatever benefit, they will get it by following the Purushottam month vrata. So that's a snapshot of what Purushottam month is all about. So I guess what we have been doing, and I guess what you are all in Bhakti Sangha Japa group been regularly doing, I think you have been doing most of them pretty nicely. In addition to that, we can, yes, like Damodara month, we can offer ghee lamp, and generally we sing Chaurashtakam. I have not seen any scriptural references from where this Chaurashtakam was chosen for Purushottam month. But then Chaurashtakam is a very interesting song which teaches us how our sinful effects are completely mitigated. So it's good to glorify the Lord in that way. So we sing Chaurashtakam and also offer ghee lamp, and get our credit in Krishna consciousness. One South Indian Alvar, since I'm in Srirangam, I'll just conclude with that. One South Indian Alvar is singing in his song, saying that எய்ப்பு என்னை வந்து நலியும் போது அங்கு ஏதும் நான் உன்னை நினைக்க மாட்டேன், அப்போதைக்கு இப்போதே சொல்லி வைத்தேன் அரங்கத்தரவனே பள்ளியானே. Which means, when I am in the deathbed, when I am sick, when I am not going to be having any energy in my body, I am not sure if I will be able to remember you and glorify you and describe about your holy name. So hence, அப்போதைக்கு இப்போதே சொல்லி வைத்தேன், instead of that time when I will be really struggling, I won't be able to remember you. So now I am remembering you. Please remember me, or remember whatever I have done at that time of my death, and rescue me. It's like an investment that I am doing now. And Ramanujacharya Sampradaya says, if a sincere practitioner, because of various reasons, is not able to remember about the Supreme Lord at the time of the death, the Supreme Lord remembers about him and takes him with him. So every endeavor in Krishna consciousness is never wasted. So wish you all the best for your Purushottam month vrata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this fantastic class about the intake of Prasadam and what is the mood and all the other things you covered. And we got so much of knowledge, Prabhuji. And the same extension for Vrinda Gopika Mataji's question. So, Prabhuji, I heard that in some of the lectures, it is a good practice to have Havishanam as Prasadam. So, how much is it, Prabhuji, we can take this Havishanam, and what is the diet we have to follow in this Purushottam month? So can you please explain about this, Prabhuji?
Okay. See, basically, when Srila Prabhupada did this entire preaching mission, Srila Prabhupada gave different layers of instructions and different importance to different things. So, according to Srila Prabhupada's directive, if we go by the basic standard of Krishna consciousness routine, and if you do that in Purushottam month, you are definitely taken care. If you are enthusiastic enough to perform additional vows, then these all Havishya. So maybe there are people who are eating once a day, people don't eat in the evening, all of those things are done. This Havishya, I have heard much about in Bhishma Panchaka. I am not so sure if the same recipe or the same content is what is used for Purushottam month vrata also. I am not an expert in this particular information on Havishya and related aspect of Purushottam month Vrata. And one last point that I want to say is that many times whenever we are doing Vrata and also all sorts of such devotional practices, we need to ensure that the crux of this all Vrata is to glorify and remember the Supreme Lord. So we need to align our consciousness also towards that, rather than just do rules for the sake of doing it. Then it will be coming under the category of Niyamagraha. So Havishya part of it, in Bhishma Panchaka we do Havishya, which means there is no diet restriction, it's only the content restriction. In Bhishma Panchaka Vrata, we have multiple options, either do Havishya, Panchagavya, or fruits, or fruits and roots. So those who have taken Havishya route in all those 5 days of Bhishma Panchaka, they have Havishya without, there's no diet restrictions on. I've never heard that they have to eat only once a day or twice a day. Or maybe sometimes devotees do that once a day or twice a day. I presume that will be the same thing in Purushottam month Vrata also. Probably you have to check other sources for more authentic information on this. I may not know about it, beyond whatever I just said. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much. It helps a lot. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your very enlightening class today, and also explaining about the Purushottama mantra, and it's very nice. Thank you. We are very grateful to you, Prabhuji. We look forward to your association again in future. If nobody has any questions, we
Mataji,
can end the call here. Yes, go ahead.
sorry, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I have a time for one more quick question.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Prabhuji, that story is there, right, about Purushottam month. Lord Vishnu takes Malamasa to Lord Krishna to Goloka.
Yes.
So I was thinking, I have a confusion, like Vishnu can go to Goloka. In that case, if he himself cannot solve any issues, he can go to Goloka. Or I was thinking that he also doesn't have access to Goloka, but is it like he can go, or he cannot take part in the Leelas? It's like that. I don't know. I have confusion here, Prabhuji.
It is like this. These are all certain subtle aspects of the Siddhanta where, for example, Vishnu is a person who is official, and Krishna is the person who is personal. So Vishnu, when Krishna becomes Vishnu as a part of an expansion, he takes care of certain functions and he addresses those functions. And definitely he is empowered to do this. But as a part of the Leela, because Kali Yuga is very precarious, needed to rescue the month who has come and taken shelter. And also these are all, like I said yesterday in another session, like when you play a video game or any sort of a game, if you have ever seen or played, there are in a game there are two things. One is somebody kills you, second is somebody gives you additional points. Like while somebody is trying to attack you, you can get some honey spots, jackpots, or whatever you may call. You gain some bonus points by clicking this, swallowing this, touching this. So similarly, this entire whole creation when Krishna did, we recently concluded a series for our Mumbai devotees on uncovering the science of punishments, and we discussed about the entire hellish planet's description for 8 days. So we discussed one whole chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam about different punishments for different types of sinful activities. So in that series, we discussed how there are different punishments and we have to be very careful whilst we are conducting ourselves. Otherwise, we are punished. And to save us from our punishments, Krishna also gives you lots of such honey spots or jackpots or bonus points. So Purushottam month is one such. So to help us for the people in Kali Yuga, Krishna personally took charge. The reason Vishnu went to Krishna is there are aspects which are connected with the devotional service and devotional sentiments. to reach the ultimate aim of Krishna consciousness, then Krishna gets directly involved. Vishnu is an official who is a maintainer, and of course Vishnu is non-different from Krishna. It is like if you want to get some personal association and personal time, don't go to the office, go to the house of the person. So same person in two different mood. That's all. I don't think there's a big disconnect over there. Even if Vishnu had married or Vishnu had accepted Purushottam Malamasa, it would have the same effect. But just to add the rasa and add the Siddhanta, it is just explained that Vishnu had taken Malamasa to Krishna, and Krishna takes charge to give us Krishna Prem, and which is the highest part of Krishna consciousness. That's my understanding. Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. It makes it clear. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So we can end the call now, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhuji ki jai, all assembled devotees ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much,
Hare Krishna,
everyone.
Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat, koti koti dandavat pranam.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.